Now this topic is something I experienced in a lot of players, myself included, and a lot of guys are blind to it or unaware. Best part is that you can apply this to pretty much any esports title. This is not CSGO exclusive, and if you're into League or Valorant or any other team game, make sure to be careful around perfectionism. Mindset of perfectionism is something I've been struggling with since my teenage years. It stemmed from the way I was raised and I worked in school. I was always proud of it and I thought it is a positive trait to have, where I was not satisfied with my work until it is 100% done correctly. I don't want to label it as purely negative thing because perfectionism drives your motivation and that motivation can help you achieve impressive goals. However, as I grew older, it became really impractical, and when my CS career took off, I realized that this was more of a negative mindset because it causes way too many problems for me as a player. So I started to read, listen and learn about it, and I was not alone having the same feeling. I understood that I must correct this, and thanks to my words from my ex-coaches, which were LMBT, Jonta, Devil Walk and even Balance from Cloud9, I started working on it and I'm struggling. To this day, I never really disabled that part of the brain that suggests things to be perfect, both in my personal life and CSGO life. This video is meant for those who have same problem and don't know how damaging it can be or how to fix it. These are my experiences, why I think it's important to push perfectionism away, especially in esports and game with so much variety like CSGO, where every round revolves around 10 different players on 2 teams and every situation is different and every round is different. I am not an expert, but I had talked with a few of them, so I hope it gives me enough leverage to talk about this a bit. And if you're not sure whether you struggle with perfectionism, look at this list of things that are common for me and many other pro players with similar problem. So you feel like nothing is good enough even after winning, you're not recognizing your progress, put pressure on yourself to perform even though you can't handle this pressure, you treat all mistakes as equal, you compare yourself to others way too much, you obsess over mistakes and you are unable to let them go, being unable to mentally reset after mistake, and you'll never be able to celebrate good achievements or not for very long. I always held myself and my team to unrealistically high standards. In my head, everything I did was never good enough. Even if we were winning as a team, instead of celebrating the win, I was really quickly looking for ways to improve for the next time. And this is super draining on your mental health to the point where it drives your motivation but damages your confidence badly. And you probably know that competing in CSGO without any confidence it's pretty much impossible, right? So when you would ask me to describe a match we just won, first thing that came to my mind, those are always the rounds we lost due to mistakes instead of great plays we made as a team. And you can see how bad this is, especially for me as a professional player that should know how to handle losses and wins. It is now apparent to me that perfectionism leads into huge dissatisfaction, which is short-term problem, and eventually to a burnout, which is long-term problem. Perfectionist players are afraid of mistakes. Really, they are so scared that it paralyzes them and, well, they become way too passive, which is usually my case, or they tilt easily. Luckily, not my case. Now, the question is how you battle this. You want to keep your motivation growing while ensuring that your confidence continues to climb too. And according to research, which can be found down in the description below, the answer lies within the concept of evaluating yourself. You need accurate feedback to keep your confidence high. This feedback is about your skill, your mistakes, results, and overall progress of yourself. The problem is that you as a perfectionist can't do this feedback correctly. You almost always fail to give yourself a credit for great improvements and fail to recognize that you actually progress forward. You might ask, why is that? Well, because you measure yourself against unrealistic benchmark you set for yourself in the first place, right? And that means you feel like you constantly fail reaching the goal, feel like you underperform, and your confidence tanks down. This is why we need help from outside, a teammate, a coach, someone who is objective observer. Now, I'm fortunate enough to be in a professional team with a good foundation coaching staff. At early point in my career, I realized that whatever my coach has to say, I need to listen to it to the maximum. Sometimes, I disagree with them in the heat of the moment or during the argument, but after reflecting on it for a day or two, in 99% of the situations, I realized that their objective criticism or feedback is something I'm not seeing, mostly because I'm blinded by my own problem, which is perfectionism after all. I know that many of you watching this, you don't have ability to be coached, but I know a lot of players send their games to streamers, YouTubers, and analysts for review, sometimes for free, sometimes for a bit of money, but trust me that these external observers will give you 10 times more accurate feedback that you would give yourself, and probably 100 times when you struggle with perfectionism. Another option would be to just talk with your teammate or friend to review a couple of moments from the game for you. Since you are teammates, I assume that you're probably around the same skill level and can come to a conclusion much faster compared to letting some analysts give you tips that are maybe way too overwhelming for you to understand. Now I think it is important to talk about how playing perfect changes over time for each player, and you included. 1 year ago, your perfect game would look very differently from perfect game you have today. It is because you're a better player with a better skill set. The standard has changed because of your hard work, past experience, and knowledge you acquired over that 1 year. So that means your definition of perfection increases over time. So you think about it like this: your perfect game 1 year ago had some weaknesses you wouldn't accept in today's version of the perfect game. In the same theory, you must have some weaknesses today that your future self would not accept as well. By connecting the dots, you see that working on your weaknesses plays a big part in reaching new standard of playing your absolute best. This is what we talked about in my last video about ABC game, where strengthening your C game allows you to leap forward and improve much faster. And if you like these rant videos with a little bit of research behind it and my own experience, let me know in the comment section below so I can prepare more of them for you. Or just simple like or share with your team work just as fine. And see you soon. Take care.